Hello and welcome. Today I'm sharing an art journal spread I made for a collaboration coordinated by Creating by Jovi, and I will provide a link to her video for this month's collaboration. And the theme is called December's Best. When I saw her video announcing the theme, it really resonated with me, and I immediately thought of my mom. That's a photo of her that I'm going to use in the spread. She passed away earlier this year, and she really loved Christmas time and decorating for Christmas, and I think she passed that on to me, but I don't know why. It just made me think that this was the right time to do this art journal spread in her memory. I love that picture. It's when she was young and single in the 1950s in New York City, and she would tell me stories about how she would and her friends would go out dancing and have so much fun in the city. And it's really the only picture I have of her during that time period. So I made a copy of it to use in this spread. So when I do a collage, I start out by pulling out papers and sometimes fabrics that are laces that I think I might use in the collage. And I usually pull out more than I am going to use, and I know that, but I like to just, have these things out and available to put together something. And when I go through my papers, I have a stash of papers. It's like an archaeological excavation. And that's what I excavated out of my pile. I really only went to like the first level of papers, and I found things right away that I like. Because the photo is black and white, I decided to use black and white and vintage brown colors, and that's all in this spread. Or I thought I might use one more color, but I ended up not doing that. So I had in mind that a couple of things. Well, I wanted to not overthink this spread. I wanted to just relax, go with the flow, and enjoy it, and not, think too hard or make it difficult on myself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just tearing papers and kind of quickly, for me, gluing them down with my glue stick. I really like vintage book pages, vintage papers, handwriting, like that. And so I love that look, and I thought it would work with the photo. I have sped up this video to double speed because I have noticed since I started recording certain things that I do that I really am pretty slow. And, normally if I'm not recording, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter how long it takes me to do something, but I don't want to make these videos overly long. So I sped it up. And also, unfortunately, I had a couple of instances where I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I'm going to have to describe what I did. So I am here continuing to glue the papers down in a way that I think looks good. I think I'm by no means an expert at collaging, but I also don't think I'm terrible at it. I think I'm just somewhere in between. And I think when I first started doing mixed media, I was afraid to do collage, honestly, because I didn't think I was any good at it at all. I didn't know how to put things together. And I think over time, just doing it makes you better. Like with anything else, if you practice, you get better at it. So, I've watched some videos, of course, other YouTube videos, and I've just done it a lot now that I think I'm a little bit better at it. But as I said, I, certainly don't think I'm any expert or that great at it. I do okay. So, I'm trying to decide what to use, their papers to use in the background, and I have that white kind of fibrous paper, sort of. It's almost like something like a fabric paper fabric. It's not paper and it's not fabric, something in between. And I end up using that around, like behind the picture, which you'll see at the end. But anyway, I'm still gluing the papers down, and every once in a while I'll check, to see if it looks good with the photo, and to see if my background looks good with the photo. And so far, so good. I'm continuing to tear things and just, kind of move them around and see if I like the look of it. And it's also like a feeling that you get. Sometimes I put a paper down and right away I think, no, I don't like that at all on this collage or in that spot. And because I have the photo I'm going to put on the right side, I am making my collage larger on the right side of the spread, and then I want it to taper down on the left side. But later I realize, which you'll see at some point, that my collage didn't taper off exactly on the left. It kind of ended abruptly, so I end up fixing that as well. But it's okay, because I'm glad I realized it and fixed it. And something else that I realized in retrospect is I decided to use a glue stick to glue all my papers down, because unless they're thick papers, the glue stick works fine for me, and it doesn't wrinkle up and buckle up my papers like some wet glues do. But I ended up covering everything later on with a layer of matte medium, which I don't show in the video, but I thought I'd mention it now, because I wasn't sure I didn't think I was going to use paint on here, but I ended up using some spray ink. So I wanted to put the matte medium on, because if you put any kind of ink spray or paint on paper, the paper absorbs it immediately and you can't get it out if you change your mind. So I wanted to be a little flexible, so I put the matte medium over everything later on, and then used the ink spray. And I knew that if, as I put it down, if I immediately thought it looked bad, I could just pick it back up with a wet wipe and wipe it off. So, because it wouldn't, the matte medium would protect the papers and the color wouldn't soak into the papers right away. So I wanted to mention that because I don't actually show it in the video. So, again, I am still putting my papers down. And after I put all the papers down, actually, let me just say the next part, I realized that I had that big black piece of black and cream colored piece on the right hand side, and then a lot of brown on the left. So I wanted to kind of balance it out with something else black on the left side. And first I tried that other black piece, which is actually a tea bag that was stained black. And then I decided, since I had that same paper right there handy, I would use that to kind of balance it out. It could have been some other black paper, but that's what I decided to do. So then I come back with white gesso. That's what is in that little container. And I scrape a little bit on here and there, because right now it just looks like a bunch of papers just glued onto my spread, and I wanted to kind of unify it a little bit. And I think gesso does that, but again, in retrospect, I probably should have done maybe a little more gesso. I like my spread in the end, so it's fine, but if I had it to do over again, maybe I would put a little more down and then do something different with the color, but this is what I chose to do, and it's fine. I tend to overdo things, and then go too far and regret it, so I was a little more cautious with my gesso, I guess, than maybe I could have been. But again, I made choices along the way, and I I'm happy with the result I got, so I really don't regret it. And I say that about the gesso only as, maybe next time I'll, think about that. And it's like a lesson that I learned myself by doing this. And, with each journal spread that I do, I learn something. So that's actually one of the things I like about mixed media and art journaling. So when I come back, I have mixed up some coarse texture paste with some caramel colored paint. I thought I was recording this part, and I wasn't, where I laid that color, put that color or that texture paste, through the stencil. And you can see where I did that. And I had some extra. I showed it a minute ago that I put it on this brown grocery bag paper that I'm using as my, just under my art journal to protect the table or whatever. Also, because I have the glare problem on my table with the light when I record, so I thought the brown paper might cut down on the glare and also protect my table. If I got some paint on it or anything, I could, I can use that paper as collage paper in the future, and etc. So what I'm doing now is because my journal doesn't lay flat, that crease in the middle is hard to get the texture paste in there. So I'm trying to add a little more of the texture paste in a way that isn't messy. It's very difficult for me in that area because I like to do double page spreads. I very often have that problem in the middle. So what I end up doing is I do put a little more texture paste in there. I'm careful about it because I don't want it to be a mess. At this point, I'm not sure I'm going to add any more color to it, so I don't want to make a big mess in that spot. What I end up doing, which again, I thought I was recording the next part and I wasn't, is I use that caramel colored paint, not the texture paste, but paint and a sponge, and you use that same stencil and then stencil in some detail with the paint and the sponge. So that worked out really well. Another thing is, if you use texture paste, make sure you clean your stencils. When I use paint, I don't bother, but texture paste, you definitely have to clean it off so it doesn't ruin your stencil. So there you can see how my left side is just abruptly ends with the collage and the texture paste. I fix that later on, but I don't show it. You can see there I added a little flower that was like on some tissue paper that I had. I added that flower there to extend my collage a little bit, and I added the brown ink spray stain. It's a Tim Holtz vintage photo color, and one of my favorite colors, vintage photo brown. And I also added some black splatters, and besides sponging that flower on there with the paint that I didn't show, that's what I did while I wasn't recording, unfortunately. I chose the flowers, by the way, because my mom really loved flowers and gardening, so I thought that was appropriate. And I used that black flower die cut because I actually don't have a die cutting machine, but I was able to purchase those on Etsy, and it's perfect for me because I don't use die cuts all that much, and so I just bought a few so I can have when I do want to use them, and it works out great. So I attached my picture to some cardstock because it was just copied onto copy paper, very flimsy copy paper, and I attached it to cardstock. I tore it around the edges and put some vintage, or not vintage, but it's called ground espresso spray. Ink, distress ink around the edges of the picture, brown ink around the edges so that it looked, kind of vintagey and old. And I'm just gluing everything down. I sewed around the picture a couple of times with my wonky sewing. I found the words, they're Dina Wakley words that I thought worked really well with the picture and the spread, and I'm gluing everything down with Fabri-Tac glue because that is a stronger glue, and that piece there is now is a little bit heavier piece with the cardstock. So that is pretty much it. I'm happy with my spread, and I'm really glad that now I can look at it from time to time, and it makes me happy to look at it and see my mom like that. I think it's a great way to honor her memory for me anyway. So thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And I will provide a link down below of the other of Creating by Jovi, and she provides links to other people who collaborate on this challenge. So I hope you will watch those too. Thanks for watching. See you next time.